The morning sky above Seoul turned black as the massive alien ship appeared without warning. Captain Lee Min-ho was drinking his coffee at Osan Air Base when the alarm started screaming. He ran to the command center and saw something that made his hands shake. The ship was huge, bigger than any building he had ever seen. It floated in the sky like a metal mountain, casting a shadow over the entire city. Strange lights blinked along its sides, and massive guns pointed down at the ground below. "Sir, they are trying to talk to us," said Park Ji-ho, the communications officer. His voice was scared. On the big screen, a face appeared that was not human. The creature was twice as tall as a man, with thick gray skin that looked like armor. Its eyes glowed red like burning coals. When it spoke, its voice was so deep it made the walls vibrate. "Small creatures of this world, you will give up now. Do not fight us. We are the Apex. We have taken over 1,000 planets. Your weapons are weak. Your people are weak. Surrender, and we will not kill all of you." Min-ho looked at Colonel Kim Dae-ho, who was in charge of the base. They had known this day might come. For 3 months, their space-watching stations had seen the alien ships coming closer to Earth. All the governments of the world had made plans. But not the kind of plans the aliens would expect. "Tell them our answer," Min-ho said to Ji-ho. Ji-ho sent back a simple message. "No, we will not surrender." The alien commander looked surprised, then angry. "You are fools. We will show you what happens when you say no to the Apex. Watch your cities burn." The screen went black, and the attack began. Red beams of light shot down from the alien ship like lightning from hell. They hit buildings in Seoul and turned them into fire and smoke. The aliens were not trying to hit military bases first. They were attacking places where normal people lived and worked. They wanted to scare everyone so much that Earth would give up without a real fight, but the aliens did not know humans very well. Within 1 hour, Min-ho got reports from around the world. The alien ships had appeared over every major city: New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Delhi. They were all doing the same thing, shooting at civilian targets to cause fear. The aliens expected people to panic and run around screaming. They expected governments to call them and beg for mercy. They expected Earth's armies to come out and fight in the open where the superior alien weapons could destroy them easily. None of that happened. Instead, people started disappearing from the cities. Not running away in panic, but moving in organized groups through tunnels and hidden paths that had been prepared months ago. The armies did not come out to fight in the open, melted away like smoke, hiding in places the aliens could not. "See, sir. Major Cho is reporting from Seoul," said Lieutenant Nam Soo-jin. "The city evacuation is going as planned. Most civilians are safely in the underground shelters." Min-ho nodded. This was exactly what they had hoped for. The aliens were doing what alien conquerors always did, using massive force to break their enemies' will to fight. But humans had spent thousands of years fighting each other. They knew there were other ways to win wars. The first alien ground troops landed in the afternoon. They came down in huge transports that looked like flying buildings. The alien soldiers were even bigger than their commander. Wearing power armor and carrying energy weapons that could blow holes through concrete, they marched into Seoul expecting to find scared humans hiding in buildings. Instead, they found empty streets and silence. "Where are they?" one alien soldier asked his squad leader in their own language. Not knowing that human listening devices had already learned to understand their words. "Keep looking. The small creatures must be hiding somewhere." But the humans were not just hiding. They were watching, learning, waiting, from hidden cameras placed all around the city. Oh. Min-ho and his team studied how the aliens moved and fought. The aliens walked in straight lines down the main streets. They never checked the side alleys or the rooftops. They never looked behind them. They moved like a machine, doing everything the same way every time. They fight like they have always. One easily observed Major Cho from his hiding place in the subway tunnels. They do not know how to be careful because they have never needed to be. That night, the first human attacks began. Not big battles with tanks and jets, but small strikes by groups of soldiers who appeared from nowhere, hit their targets, and disappeared again before the aliens could fight back. Sergeant Ogiwan's team destroyed an alien supply truck using a bomb hidden in the road. When alien reinforcements came to help, the humans were already gone, hiding in buildings that looked empty but were full of secret passages. The aliens responded by sending more troops and bigger guns. They had never met an enemy that did not stand still and fight. They did not know what to do with humans who struck like ghosts and vanished like shadows. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the mighty apex began to feel confused and frustrated. These small Earth creatures were not fighting the way conquered species were supposed to fight. 3 weeks after the aliens came to Earth, Commander Gorak stood in the broken pieces of what used to be the White House in Washington. His huge body made the human furniture look like toys. He was angry and confused. His forces controlled all the big cities on Earth. His ships ruled the skies. His weapons could destroy anything humans built. But somehow, the small Earth creatures kept fighting back. "Give me a report," he growled to his lieutenant. "We control the cities as planned, Commander. The humans will not accept defeat. They keep attacking our supply trucks and communication towers." Gorak's red eyes burned with frustration. In 300 years of conquering planets, no species had lasted this long once their cities fell. Usually, when the apex took over the important places, the local creatures would surrender within days. "Send more patrols. Use bigger weapons," he ordered. But Captain Lee Min-ho had no plans to fight the way the aliens expected. From his hidden base in the mountains outside Seoul, he talked to resistance fighters all over the world. They shared information and made new plans together. "The aliens in Busan are very predictable," said Lieutenant Nam Sujin, looking at her computer tablet. "They send patrols down the same streets every day at the same time. They always use the same formation. They never change anything." "That is their weakness," Minho said. "They have never needed to change because being stronger than everyone else always worked before." The humans began to use this predictability against their enemies. A fighter named Kong Min-soo led a team that specialized in what they called ghost strikes. They would hide bombs where alien patrols walked every day, then blow them up and disappear before help could arrive. The aliens would respond by sending bigger patrols, which only made them easier to see and avoid. In the old subway tunnels under Seoul, a technical expert named Yoon Hana worked with a team of engineers. They studied pieces of alien equipment that human fighters had captured during raids. What they found was very interesting. "Technology is incredibly advanced," she told Minho through their secret communication system. "But everything is designed for brute force. Heavy armor, massive energy weapons, backup systems for their backup systems. They never had to worry about being efficient or precise." "What advantage does that give us?" Minho asked. "Their equipment has weak spots they do not even know about. They never needed to protect against precise attacks because no one ever used them." This information became very important when Sergeant Ogwan's team met an alien heavy walker. It was a war machine as tall as a 4-story building, with thick armor and powerful weapons. It had been destroying everything in the countryside around Seoul. Instead of trying to blow it up with big explosives, O's team used Hannah's information to find the exact spots where the machine's joints connected. They placed small, carefully positioned charges on these weak points. Now the massive war machine fell down under its own weight, and the alien crew was trapped inside. News of human tactics began to spread among the alien forces. These Earth creatures were not the simple brutes they had expected. They were something much more dangerous, an enemy that thought carefully before attacking, that turned strength into weakness, that seemed to know what the aliens would do before they did it. Meanwhile, more human teams were learning about their enemy. Captain Park Jinwoo's scouts managed to sneak into an abandoned alien supply base near Incheon. What they found there changed how humans understood their enemy. "This is not just military equipment," said Corporal Lee Soo-yoon, scanning the alien. "Technology with portable devices? There are cultural artifacts, communication records, even what looks like their entertainment." Everything was sent to the intelligence team, where a language expert named Dr. Song Minji worked day and night to understand alien communications. What she discovered was surprising. They are not evil, she reported to the resistance leaders. They are just simple. Every problem they have ever faced was solved with more force, bigger weapons, larger armies. They have conquered so many worlds using the same methods that they literally do not know how to change. This knowledge proved very valuable when Major Kim Tae-yeon planned to free the city of Daegu. The aliens had controlled it for a month, using it as their regional command center. Instead of trying a direct attack, Taeyeon's forces watched the occupiers for weeks. They changed guards at exactly 6 in the morning every day, reported sniper Han Jimin from her hidden position. Same routes, same timing, and they always send their garbage truck through the south gate at 2 in the afternoon. The humans attacked during the guard change, using the garbage truck as cover to sneak into the command center, while the aliens scrambled to fight what they thought was a major attack on their walls. A small team led by communications expert Lim Dong-yuk slipped inside and planted listening devices throughout their systems. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity could listen to alien military communications across the entire peninsula. The most important discovery came from Private Jung Soyoung, who used to be a computer programmer. Their entire military uses centralized command, she reported. Every unit reports to the unit above it, which reports to the one above that. It is very rigid. What does that mean for us? Asked Colonel Kim. If we can disrupt their command system, their forces will not know how to operate alone. They have never had to. The resistance began targeting alien communication networks with surgical precision. Instead of trying to destroy the heavily protected transmission towers, they found and cut the cables that connected them. Responded by putting more guards around the towers, never realizing the real problem was in infrastructure they thought was too unimportant to protect. As communication between alien units became unreliable, their coordination began to fall apart. Forces that had operated with mechanical precision for decades suddenly found themselves isolated and uncertain. The hunters were becoming the hunted. The big discovery happened when Captain Park Jin-woo's team managed to sneak into an abandoned alien supply building outside Incheon. What they found inside changed everything about how humans understood their enemy. This is not just weapons and military stuff, said Corporal Lee Soo-yoon, looking at the alien equipment with their scanning devices. Their art objects, recorded messages, even what looks like their movies and music. Jin-woo sent everything back to the intelligence team. There, a language expert named Dr. Song Minji worked without sleep for days to decode the alien communications. What she learned painted a clear picture of who the Apex really were. They are not monsters, she told the resistance leaders through their secure connection. They are just very simple-minded. Every single problem they have ever faced has been solved with more force, bigger weapons, and larger armies. They have conquered so many worlds using exactly the same methods that they literally do not know any other way to fight. This information became extremely valuable when Major Kim Tae-yeon began planning to free the city of Daegu. The aliens had controlled the city for a whole month, using it as their main command center for the region. Instead of trying to attack directly with guns and explosives, Taeyeon's forces spent weeks just watching the aliens and learning their habits. They changed their guards at exactly 6 o'clock every morning, reported sniper specialist Han Jimin. From her hidden position on a rooftop, same paths, same timing, every single day. And they always send their waste truck through the southern checkpoint at exactly 2 in the afternoon. The humans planned their attack around this predictable behavior. They struck during the morning guard change, using the daily waste truck as cover to sneak soldiers into the command center. While the aliens rushed to defend against what they thought was a major attack on their outer walls, a small team led by communications expert Lim Dong-yuk quietly entered the building and planted tiny listening devices throughout their computer systems. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity could hear real-time alien military communications across the entire Korean peninsula. They could listen to the aliens' plans before the aliens even carried them out. But the most important discovery came from Private First Class Jung Soyoung, who had been a computer programmer before the war. She spent days analyzing how the alien communication networks operated. Their entire military works on centralized command structures, she reported to Colonel Kim. Every single unit reports to the unit above it, which reports to the unit above that. It goes all the way up to the top. The system is incredibly rigid and inflexible. What does that mean for our fight against them? Colonel Kim asked. It means, if we can mess up their command structure, their forces will not know how to work independently. They have never had to make decisions for themselves. The resistance immediately began targeting alien communication networks, but not in the way the aliens expected. Instead of trying to destroy the heavily armored and well-guarded transmission towers with bombs or missiles, human teams identified and quietly cut the underground cables that connected the towers together. The aliens responded exactly as predicted. They increased security around the transmission towers, adding more guards and bigger weapons to protect them. They never realized that the real vulnerability was in the boring infrastructure they considered too unimportant to heavily defend. Technical specialist Yoon Hana led teams that became experts at finding these hidden weak points. The aliens build everything to withstand massive attacks, she explained to her team. Their cables are protected against explosions, electromagnetic pulses, and energy weapons. But they never thought to protect them against someone with wire cutters and basic knowledge of where to cut. As communication between alien units became unreliable and sporadic, their famous coordination began to break down completely. Military forces that had operated with clockwork precision for hundreds of years suddenly found themselves confused, isolated, and uncertain about what they were supposed to do. The change was dramatic and immediate. Alien patrols that used to move in perfect formation began wandering aimlessly when they lost contact with their commanders. Supply convoys started getting lost when their navigation systems could not receive updated route information. Even simple guard duties became chaotic. When soldiers could not report to their supervisors or receive new orders, Captain Lee Min-ho watched the results from his mountain command center with satisfaction. They are like a body whose nervous system has been cut, he observed to his staff. All the individual parts are still strong, but they cannot work together anymore. The psychological effect on the alien forces was even more significant than the practical problems. For the first time in their military careers, Apex soldiers experienced doubt and fear. They had never fought an enemy that seemed to understand them better than they understood themselves. Alien. Commander Gorak found himself dealing with something completely outside his experience. His forces controlled the territory they were supposed to control. They had superior weapons and technology, had more soldiers and bigger ships. But somehow, the humans kept winning small victories that added up to a big problem. How are these primitive creatures doing this to us? He demanded of his staff officers, but none of them had an answer. The Apex military doctrine had no procedures for dealing with an enemy that refused to fight the way enemies were supposed to fight. Their training manuals contained no solutions for combating an opponent that turned their own strengths against them. For the first time in their 1,000-year history of conquest, the mighty Apex began to experience something they had never felt before: the fear of defeat at the hands of a supposedly inferior enemy. The tables were beginning to turn, and the aliens did not even realize it yet. The big counterattack began at sunrise on a Tuesday morning. Human forces around the world struck at exactly the same time across 12 different time zones. Captain Lee Min-ho stood in the restored command center at Osan Air Base, watching computer screens that showed the result of months of careful planning. All units are ready to go, announced Major Cho-hoon from the Field Operations Center. Phoenix Protocol is now active. Round the globe, human forces put into action tactics that would have been impossible for any other species the Apex had ever fought. In Tokyo, a demolitions expert named Yamamoto Kenji had spent weeks studying the structural weak points of a massive alien landing platform. Instead of attacking the heavily defended platform itself with bombs and missiles, his team targeted the foundation supports underneath it. The entire structure collapsed under the weight of the alien ships it was designed to hold. In Seoul, an urban warfare specialist named Ryu Jinna guided her team through old maintenance tunnels that ran beneath the city's main alien garrison. They came up inside the enemy compound not through the heavily fortified main gates, but through a storm drain that the aliens had never considered a security threat. "Remember, we are not here to fight them directly," she whispered to her team, as they moved through the compound in the darkness. "We are here to make them fight each other." Her team planted special devices throughout the base that would cause the alien security systems to identify their own personnel as enemy intruders. Within hours, the garrison was in complete chaos as automated defense weapons began firing on alien soldiers who were just trying to do their jobs. But the most ambitious operation was led by Navy Commander Park Chan-wook. His team had spent months studying the alien orbital platforms that floated in space above Earth, using captured alien shuttles that had been modified with human stealth technology. They approached the command ship that had been terrorizing Earth for months. Their sensors are designed to detect large-scale threats, like fleets of warships, reported Pilot Officer Kim Sarang as they got closer to the massive vessel. They are not set up to notice small precision infiltration attempts. The human team slipped aboard the alien flagship through a maintenance bay that the aliens had never thought needed heavy security. Once inside, electronics warfare specialist Lee Hanyul went to work on their computer systems. "Their network security is just like their military strategy," he reported quietly through his radio. "It is designed to stop massive brute force attacks, but it is completely vulnerable to precise surgical intrusion. Instead of trying to destroy the ship's computer systems with viruses or explosions, the humans simply reprogrammed them." Weapon targeting systems began identifying other alien ships as enemy vessels that needed to be destroyed. Navigation computers started providing false coordinates that would send ships to the wrong locations. Communication systems began broadcasting contradictory orders to ground forces, the alien fleet, which had operated with perfect coordination for centuries. It suddenly found itself completely confused and turning on itself. On the ground, the effects were immediate and devastating. Forces that had always relied on support from their ships in orbit suddenly found themselves abandoned and alone. Military units that had operated with clockwork precision for generations began receiving orders that contradicted each other. The rigid command structure that had been their greatest strength became their greatest weakness as they struggled to adapt to chaos they had never experienced before. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Park Ji-ho, who was monitoring alien radio transmissions. "They are requesting emergency reinforcements from their home fleet." Captain Minho smiled grimly. "Let them come. We will be ready for them too." Confusion spread throughout the alien forces like a disease. In Busan, an alien patrol received orders to attack a human position at the exact same time they received orders to retreat to their base. Unable to decide which order was correct, they simply stopped moving entirely in Daegu. Alien supply trucks began delivering ammunition to the wrong units and food supplies to weapons depots. The carefully organized logistics system that had supported alien armies across 1,000 worlds began to fall apart completely. Most importantly, the alien soldiers themselves began to lose confidence in their commanders and their equipment. For the first time in their military careers, they could not trust that their orders made sense or that their technology would work properly. Technical Specialist Yoon Hannah monitored the chaos from her underground command post. "They are completely dependent on their systems working perfectly," she observed. "When we introduce just a little bit of uncertainty into their operations, everything falls apart." The psychological impact was even greater than the practical problems. Alien forces that had conquered worlds through overwhelming superiority suddenly found themselves questioning everything. Were their weapons reliable? Could they trust their orders? Were their own ships going to attack them? Supreme Commander Vorthok, leading the alien reinforcement fleet that was still months away from Earth, received increasingly desperate reports from his advanced forces. The reports made no sense to him. How could a primitive species be defeating the most successful military force in galactic history? "Prepare for immediate departure," he ordered his fleet. "These Earth creatures require our full attention." But by the time the reinforcements would arrive, the humans would be ready with surprises that would make their current tactics look simple. Earth had learned that the key to defeating superior force was not to meet it head-on, but to turn it against itself. The mighty Apex Empire, which had never known defeat, was about to learn what happened when precision fought against power. The alien reinforcement fleet arrived 6 months later, expecting to find their advanced forces in complete control of a conquered world. Instead, Supreme Commander Vorthok found himself staring at his tactical display in complete disbelief. Planet below showed no signs of the systematic occupation that should have been finished months ago. His sensors detected scattered alien forces in what appeared to be full retreat, while the primitive humans seemed to control most of their own planet. Vorthok had commanded successful invasions of over 100 worlds. He had never seen anything like this. "How is this possible?" he demanded from his tactical officer. "Unknown, Supreme Commander." Advance Force stopped sending regular reports. 4 months ago, a few messages we received mentioned unusual enemy tactics, but nothing that should have caused this. Vorthok decided to show these Earth creatures what proper alien warfare looked like. His fleet began a systematic bombardment of the planet's major population centers, using enough firepower to turn the surface into molten glass. This would end the resistance once and for all, but Captain Lee Min-ho and the Earth Defense Forces had been preparing for exactly this moment. "Activate Prometheus Protocol," he ordered from the hidden command center that now coordinated humanity's defense from deep within the Korean mountains. All across the planet, systems that had been secretly installed over the past months came online. Advanced radar specialist Kim Min-jae had worked with teams worldwide to create a network of detection and targeting systems that combine human innovation with captured alien technology. "We have targeting solutions on all primary enemy vessels," reported Weapons Coordinator Han Ji-hee. "Remember everyone," Min-ho announced to all units around the world. "We are not trying to overpower them with superior firepower. We are going to make them overpower themselves." The trap that humanity had spent months preparing was beautiful in its simplicity. Using precisely calculated electromagnetic pulses, they disrupted the alien fleet's formation just enough to cause their own ships to crash into each other during evasive maneuvers. The aliens' massive vessels, designed to deliver overwhelming firepower, became dangerous liabilities when their targeting systems were fed false information by human computer. Hackers. Cyber warfare expert Dr. Choi Young-soo had spent months studying alien computer systems. Their artificial intelligence is incredibly advanced, he had discovered, but it is completely literal-minded. It has no understanding of deception or misdirection. The humans fed the alien fleet's computers information that was technically accurate but contextually misleading. Sensor readings identified floating debris as enemy warships. Navigation data was correct but delayed by crucial fractions of a second. Targeting information was mathematically precise but aimed at empty space, where ships had been moments before. The result was destruction unlike anything in alien military history. Their own ships, following protocols that had worked perfectly for thousands of years, began firing on each other as their systems misidentified targets. Evasive maneuvers designed to avoid enemy fire instead sent them crashing into their own vessels. "Fleet Command, this is Battleship Dominator," came a panicked transmission that human listening posts intercepted. "Our targeting systems are malfunctioning. We just fired on Cruiser Annihilator by mistake." "Dominator, this is Fleet Command. Run full diagnostics on all systems immediately." "Fleet Command. Diagnostics show all systems operating normally, but we are reading enemy signatures on ships. We know are friendly." Supreme Commander Vorthok watched his supposedly invincible fleet tear itself apart and finally understood what his advanced forces had been trying to tell him. These humans did not fight like any species in the known galaxy. They fought like precision instruments, finding the exact pressure point that would cause their enemy's greatest strength to become their greatest weakness. Within hours, half of his fleet was either destroyed or too damaged to continue fighting. The remaining ships were scattered and confused, their crews no longer trusting their own equipment or orders. "Signal the entire fleet," Vorthok ordered, his voice heavy with a type of defeat that no alien commander had ever experienced before. "Full retreat. Immediate withdrawal from this system," as the surviving alien ships limped away from Earth, carrying with them news of their impossible defeat. Captain Lee Min-ho stood in the command center, surrounded by the officers who had helped orchestrate humanity's victory. "Sir," asked Lieutenant Nam Soo-jin, "what do we do now?" Min-ho looked at the tactical display showing the retreating alien fleet, then at the faces of the people who had proven that precision and intelligence could defeat any amount of brute force. Now we prepare for what comes next, he said simply. The galaxy just learned that Earth breeds a different kind of warrior. Some will want to study us. Others will want to destroy us before we become a threat. And some will want to hire us. Reports from deep space monitoring stations confirmed that the aliens were doing something unprecedented in their military history. Instead of regrouping for another attack, they were broadcasting warnings to other species throughout the galaxy. To avoid the small blue planet in the outer rim, for the first time in galactic history, a species known for conquest was telling others to stay away from potential victims. The message was simple and clear. The humans of Earth were precision killers who could turn any enemy's strength against them. Word spread quickly through the galaxy. Earth had become something new and terrifying, a world where the weak had defeated the strong, not through superior technology or numbers, but through superior thinking.